Welcome to SpartanPoker.com. Hey guys, in this video we're going to learn how to play no-limit Texas Hold'em poker. The no-limit Texas Hold'em poker is a variation of poker where the objective is to make the best 5-card poker hand combination using the whole cards and the community cards. The whole cards are the 2 cards which are dealt to the player, and the community cards are the 5 cards which are placed on the board. The best hand combination can be either using 2 whole cards and 3 community cards, or 1 whole card and 4 community cards, or all 5 community cards. Now, before we proceed to the game, let's understand the poker hand ranking from lowest to the highest. The lowest hand rank is called as high card, which does not have any peers, so the winning hand is decided based on the highest card. A better hand combination than a high card is a pair, where we have 2 cards of the same rank known as a pair, which is assisted with 3 other cards. Next in line is a 2-pair hand, where we have 2 pairs assisted with 1 other card. A stronger hand than a 2-pair is a 3 of a kind, where we have 3 cards of the same rank assisted by 2 other cards. The next best hand is a straight, where we have 5 sequential cards of different suits. The straight is followed by the flush, where we have any 5 cards which are from the same suit. Then comes a full house, which is formed by a 3 of a kind plus a pair. The next better hand is a 4 of a kind, where there are 4 cards of the same rank assisted by 1 other card. A superior hand than a 4 of a kind is a straight flush, where we have 5 sequential cards of the same suit. The boss of all hands is the royal flush, which is formed by the same suit sequence starting from ace to 10. This is the strongest possible hand in poker. Now that we are aware of the poker hand rankings, let's move on to the gameplay and understand the rules and playing positions at the table. The game begins in the clockwise direction with respect to the dealer button position marked in D. 2 cards are dealt to each player, known as the whole cards, starting from the position next to the dealer. After dealing the whole cards, the first round of betting, which is also known as the pre-flop round, begins. Starting from the left, the player position is described as follows: small blind. This position is immediately next to the dealer button, and while at this position, there is a mandatory bet for the player known as the small blind bet, which goes into the pot. Big blind. This position is next to the small blind, and while at this position, there is a mandatory bet for the player which is twice the size of the small blind, called as the big blind bet, which goes into the pot. The big blind is also the minimum bet at the table to be in the game. UTG. This position is next to the big blind, and it is called as under the gun position. At this position, the player has an option to either call, which means place the minimum bet equal to the big blind to stay in the game, or either raise, which means the player can double the bet size or raise up to the total number of chips available with him or her at the table. Or the player can choose to fold, which means the player decides to quit that hand by discarding the cards. Let's assume in this case that the player just makes a call. The same betting options are available for all the players henceforth. The player can either call, raise, or fold. Once the pre-flop betting round is complete and every player has contributed equal amount of chips to the pot, 3 community cards are dealt face up on the table by the dealer. This is called as a flop. These community cards are common for all players, and every player has an option to form the best 5-card poker hand. Once the flop is dealt, the post-flop betting round begins from the small blind position. This player, being in the first position, has an option to either check, raise, or fold. Checking is an option to pass the action to the next player in the game without any bet. The same betting options are available for all the players in the game. This betting round continues until all the players have contributed equal amount of chips, or either decided to quit the hand by folding. Once the second round of betting is complete, the third round begins by revealing 1 more community card on the table, which is called as the turn card. Another round of betting continues with the same betting options like the previous round for all the players. If there are still some players in the game, then the last round of betting begins, which is when the 5th community card is revealed, also known as the river card. Once the final betting round is complete, the showdown begins, which means disclosing the whole cards of the remaining players starting from the last aggressor. The player which has the best 5-card poker hand combination wins the game, taking away the entire pot amount of that game. Now let us try to analyze and understand the betting patterns and hand ranking of two players playing no-limit Texas Hold'em poker against each other. Player A is dealt a Jack of Hearts and a 10 of Hearts, whereas player B is dealt an Ace of Clubs and a Queen of Spades. In this case, both players have strong hands. In the pre-flop round, player A, being on the big blind position, decides to raise to an amount double of the big blind. Player B decides to call the bet. The flop is revealed as the Queen of Hearts, 10 of Spades, and the 3 of Hearts. In this case, the player A has hit a pair of 10s with the possibility of a flush hand, whereas player B has hit a pair of queens. Both the players have pretty good hands, but at this point, player B has a stronger hand with a pair of queens, whereas player A has a pair of 10s. Now the action is on player B, and player B decides to raise the bet to half the pot amount. Since player A has hit a pair and also stands a chance to make a flush hand, player A decides to call. The turn card is revealed as the 7 of diamonds. There is no change in the hand rank for both the players, but player B still has a stronger hand. So at this point, player A decides to check to avoid any additional betting, and player B also decides to check. Now it's time to reveal the final community card, which is the river card. The river card is dealt as Ace of Hearts. Now player A has hit a flush hand, whereas player B has hit a 2-pair hand. The action is on player A, and player A decides to raise to an amount equal to the pot size. Since player B has also hit top 2 pairs, it's difficult for player B to fold at this point, so player B decides to call the bet. The showdown begins and player A wins the entire pot with an ace-high flush. With this example, we hope that you have understood the betting patterns that are involved in this game. But let's not hit the tables yet. Now let us test your skills with a quick hand ranking analysis test. From the 5 options in front of your screen, you have to rank these hands in ascending order starting from the strongest hand. If your answer is B, E, A, C, D, you are absolutely correct, and you are now ready to hit the tables at thespartanpoker.com. But if your answer is wrong, then don't worry. You can just watch this video again, or you can also choose to play free games and practice with your friends at spartanpoker.com. Before you begin to